welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and let me tell you, the problem with getting back to playing War Thunder, other than the obvious financial burden, the game is too fun. Like, I was kind of not looking forward to getting back into playing more than like one match a day, because there were some pretty bad server issues when I was playing over the course of the last week or so, but those weren't really a problem today, and I ended up having some fantastic matches that I'll be sharing with you over the course of the next couple of days. So enjoy enjoy Panda Chan that I've constructed Island of Dr. Moreau style on the back of my KV-1E turret there. This is the up-armored KV-1 that the USSR team has access to, so hooray for Papa Stalin. I did a little bit of karaoke last night. I was pretty proud of that. That turned out pretty great, and I just had an absolute blast today. I watched I listened to it in the background, but while I was playing, I was actually listening to the Esports Ready tournament, which I think is a huge success. There is one major issue, and that I think really doesn't have to do with the Esports Ready team, because they're not actually Gaijin. These are individuals that are fans of the game and have come together to try and do their best to get an esports scene going for War Thunder, because they think it'll be good for the game, and it's hard to disagree. I wish them the best of luck. I don't think it's really going to happen, but you can't make fire without rubbing a few sticks together. I mean, you can, but somebody had to do it that way, right? Anyway, the one issue with the Esports Ready tournament is that while it's super awesome that they're streaming on Twitch and they have Twitch drops enabled, I've noticed a lot of inconsistency with the Twitch drops, and it's not just down to the fact that it's based on RNG, but also things like getting my War Thunder account de-linked from Twitch, which has never happened for any of my other games that are linked with Twitch. I mean, I've had Warframe linked for years, and my War Thunder account would get de-linked multiple times over the course of a broadcast while I'm listening and hoping for precious tricolor smoke. As of the making of this video, I'm 2 out of 4 gang. I have about 7 hours of watch time in, and I've gotten 2 drops, so I don't think that's the rate that it's supposed to be. And you know what, I'm just gonna leave it there. I don't think that it's a Esports Ready thing. I think it's a Gaijin thing. I think it's a server issue, and that's nothing new to War Thunder players now, is it? But might have something to do with two-factor authentication. I don't know, but I have to relink my account every now and then, and that's just the way things are. I saw a little bit of tank there, so I went ahead and dropped my bomb and got a good result for it. One of the downsides to sandwiching yourself between buildings when it comes to avoiding bombs is that 1, you can't, and 2, those walls of the building can sort of funnel bombs into your direction. You're welcome. So this is Tisma. I unlocked this event attacker, heavy fighter, if you will, some time ago during the event. Well, wow, what do you know? During the event that it was available. And that's right, more quality commentary from the Toshio Thunder. But it's nice to share with you my own gameplay lately, and I gotta say, that was a satisfying couple of bomb kills. Unfortunately, we eat 120 mil from a whirlwind, and that's enough to burn us in stellinium fire hell. So that didn't last very long. In fact, I haven't been doing super well in the TISMA lately, and I think it just came down to the fact that Soviet SPAA is always popular and usually very effective. The TISMA is a huge target that's made out of fuel tanks, and there also tended to be a lot of enemies in the skies to contend with as well. On a personal note, a completely different matter, I've just had like zero energy lately, so I've been loafing around the house, and my wife is 100% pregnant, so that's not super convenient for anybody. So I really appreciate she's stifling giggling right now because of recording. But yeah, I'll tell you, that hasn't been super convenient for anybody. But she's got a little bit of revenge. Scheduling my what's it called, a mansectomy? I can't remember. Anyway, they're gonna pull out the explosive filler from my APHE rounds, but we don't have room for a fourth kid in our car, okay? And I think we've already established that there's just too much post-penetration effect on this thing. Anyway, this is the ZUT what's it? It's a 37mm anti-tank cannon. That's right, it is anti-tank. This is actually supposed to be an AA platform, which is ridiculous because you can see the gun handling on this is worse than most anything. It's about the most disgusting gun handling you could have on a vehicle, but the acceleration is ridiculous. The mobility of this vehicle is great. You get the bucket on the rear, which is just the best, and that's for when the tank has diuretics. But what you do have is a reasonable amount of armor penetration at close ranges when compared with other tanks, and a 5-round autocannon. Not the fastest reload on the 5-round clipazine, but if you take your shots well and have a little pause in between rounds, as you'll see us do, you can pick up a couple of kills, and at rock bottom prices in terms of spawn points, you really just might as well. So, this lineup, you may have noticed, is absolutely disgusting. It's a completely golden lineup, which I think is a sufficient commentary on why communism always fails, because money talks and golden lineups walk the walk. But this was one of those matches where we definitely were trying our best, and at the same time I was just loving life. You know, I decided to take it easy and not really try hard and not expect too much, and I ended up having a blast really all day today. It just seems like, I don't know if this is being fair, but it seems like there are a lot more easy kills out there than there were a couple of days ago. It just seems to be that way sometimes in War Thunder. Especially during events, you get some very skilled players trying very hard, but here in, we'll call this, low mid-tier at battle rating 4 to 5, you're looking at both a pretty sweet spot for Soviet vehicles, at least the premium ones, the ones that I enjoy playing, and not too tough of competition. A lot of your opponents are going to have much less armor than you, with the exception of things like the Stug and Sturmhaubitze, which can be a little bit of a tough nut to crack, but a Panzer II, yeah, that's going to be pretty easy at this tier. And yet, you see, as much as we're putting ourselves in a good position, sort of filling the net with our team, the enemy team just kept coming at us. They were really bringing their A game, and they're actually going to pull off a win in this match. Spoilers, obviously. But my team did their best. They were out there playing good ball, and the other team was out there doing their best, and they were playing good ball, and they just They just did gooder than us, okay? But I really enjoy these vehicles that I've been using. I ended up using most of this lineup, which is a pretty rare occurrence. Usually I either get stomped really hard, or I'll spawn in something like the BT-7 F-32 and just not be able to die, because the cannon on that thing is so good for a vehicle of that amount of maneuverability that it really feels like an even stronger gun, just because of how often you find yourself in the advantageous position over your opponent. IL-2 is a little bit different of a tank, and yes, it is a tank. It's one of the few Soviet tanks that flies, and that's looked like a Ju-88. These things actually have some really wicked rear defensive guns, as you see us actually getting our engine shot out by that German medium bomber. Definitely a dangerous thing to lurk behind, but I thought I could be quick enough with those deadly 23 mils to take him down before he could cause serious damage to us. And if he hadn't sprayed our engine the way he did, then we would have gotten away with it too, if it weren't for you nasty krauts. But in any event, I have plenty of other videos where I have an absolute blast in the IL-2, just biasing on everything. In fact, the German IL-2 is my favorite, and I have no idea how we flew through that radio tower without losing a wing, but IL-2 is stellinium strong. In fact, both pilot and rear gunner survived that crash, because they always do. Opening up with Dishka on that enemy Stug. Actually, that might be a Sturmhowitzer, but no, we get kicked out. It's time to go directly to Gulag for wasting Soviet socialist property. So it is indeed BT-7 time. No, you know what? Let's take out this dinosaur. I never play this tank destroyer, even though with the infamous Soviet 85 at a 4.0 battle rating, it is an absolute monster in terms of firepower. It makes up for that ability with shortcomings in every other department when compared with its contemporaries. Because the crew compartment is rather cramped, your gun firing angles are not the best, the armor is almost non-existent, just enough to set off the fuse on someone's APHE round, and overall the survivability, maneuverability, and gun handling are all falling short in general when compared with its other counterparts for the other nations and within the regular tech tree. And yet, that cannon, especially if you're able to really sight in your targets well, because one of the other things that this vehicle lacks is any kind of machine gun, you can do some damage. As you see, I mean, we got a hull break, but diameter counts for something there. And we actually survived a hit, thanks to the fact that the crew compartment is set back a ways from the fighting compartment, from the driver's hatch, and well, sometimes you just don't get lucky with APHE, as that poor Stug was experiencing there. And is that an enemy tank? Yes, he's pulling back, and a little bit too quickly for us to take him down. Looks like yet another Sturmgeschütz with the longer 75mm cannon that can cause so much damage. Every now and then, I decide that the Stug 3 later variants are better than the Panzer IV F2, but I flip-flop on that one fairly often. The armor at a fairly consistent 80mm for the later models is pretty dang good for its low battle rating, and with low profile and pretty good maneuverability, it really has just about everything you could ask for in a tank destroyer. Hint, hint, Soviets, hint, hint. And yet, I suppose ease of construction and the ability to use older tank design chassis definitely factor in when it comes to monstrosities like this little dinosaur. And as you see, sometimes all you need is a decent cannon. The rest takes care of itself. With a little bit of map awareness that enemy Chaffee definitely seemed to be lacking. He really had every advantage on us there, and yet he was focusing on other things, among them shutting down our spawn point, which, I mean, spawn camping is the meta if you can actually achieve it, but I think it's actually not the best course of action for the most part. There are certain vehicles and certain, especially, positions on the map where that works out, but there's a nice failure for you and a quick 10 kills and another look at me back in the game of War Thunder. Anyway, looking forward to connecting with you all in the comments and on the Discord, link in the description of this video. And if you'd like to send me a replay, I am featuring replays on my channel at this time as well. Catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. Say like and subscribe.
Subscribe to the channel.